Alright, so I wanted to get this in with my other commentary, but Sony Vegas just wasn't cooperating with me in my last 2K video. And I really wanted to touch base on a legit minor league system for the NBA. And you're probably thinking right now, well, they do have one. It's called the NBDL. Well, it's not an actual legit minor league system. It's basically like the CBA. It's just more organized. It's funded by the NBA, but it doesn't have a structure or an organization structure like MLB, NHL. NFL doesn't really need one. They have their practice squads. They pretty much take everybody from their low round draft picks to for their undrafted players. They're pretty much, their development league is basically on the practice squad. Whenever someone gets hurt on the team, they pretty much go to their practice squad if they can't find anybody off free agency. But with the NBA, they don't have a legit system in place. Excuse me. And it kind of irks me as far as being an NBA fan. You see so many draft picks go wasted. You see so many of your high draft picks go wasted because sometimes maybe a good team sneaks into the top 10 of a lottery draft and they pick some guy who basically sits on the bench for like 3 or 4 years and pretty much doesn't develop, and then he becomes a bust and a wasted draft pick. And I kind of wish that the NBA would go to some type of system like this. I mean, right now there's only 16 NBDL teams. There's 30 NBA teams. Now, there's several teams that have partnerships with NBDL teams, but there's only 4 of them who has single affiliation with them. The partnership parent, quote-unquote parent affiliations are Cavaliers, Warriors, Knicks, Nets, Spurs, Lakers, Rockets, Mavericks, and Thunder. But there's only 4 of them that have single affiliation, which means they can control their players, they control who goes there, they control who's signed and who they can possibly call up if they need be. Those are the Knicks, the Rockets, the Nets, and Mavericks. I think the Warriors are pretty close to having a single affiliation to where they can control their own team, but I'm not 100% positive on that. And if you look at the NBDL, it's so spread out. There's as far as like Major League Baseball, you see like their AAA teams or their AA teams really close to their home state or their home city, to where they can call someone up and have them be anywhere in the country on short notice. I'm from Chicago, and I think the closest team for the White Sox is in South Bend, Indiana. And I think for the Chicago Cubs, I think it's as close as, I think it's in Iowa somewhere, to where they have their AAA team. And if you look at some of them, I mean, the Warriors have a affiliation with the Dakota Wizards, which is in North Dakota, but they're located, of course, in San Francisco. It just doesn't work that way. And of course, the owners and the NBA will say that, well, we don't have the funds to do this. We don't have the funds to really commit to a legit minor league system, but that's a load of crap. One of the things that they can do to gather money, to get money to possibly do this, is dissolve the WNBA. Since its inaugural year, the NBA has been funding the WNBA from start to finish, from day one to now. And from day one to now, they have not turned a profit. They've been in the red ever since their inaugural year. Now, that's just bad business. I don't know why it's still going on. I haven't even bothered to watch a full WNBA game at all. And to me, it's just kind of boring. To me, it's a waste of money if you're funding a business that's going negative year in and year out. So they can take that money and put it towards a minor league system, make owners and teams commit to this, to not only make the team better, but just to make the NBA and the NBA game that much better. And it'll just be an overall better game, because right now, I mean, baseball's on a decline in my opinion, and the NFL will just be the monster that it is, and it'll continue to be the monster that it is. But people are looking for that second, sport to go for. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think the NBA is going to be that. But they can do so much better with a legit minor league system to better their product. They're getting all these kids from, now, and I'll probably do this in another commentary of what the pros and cons of college kids or even high school kids coming out early. And also grabbing European players. There's so many pros and cons of that it can only benefit the NBA if they had an actual developmental league to where each team had control of each of their teams, that they could raise the draft picks up to maybe like 3 or 4 rounds, get all those undrafted players, really have coaches in place to teach these kids the game, to teach them how to be a professional, to get used to the constant road trips, the juggernaut of an NBA season, of how you might get wore down, because the NBA game is nothing compared to high school, college, or the European game. It's so much more faster. It's so much more physical. You have to have such a high basketball IQ to play in the NBA. I mean, you see some of these kids that came out of high school or college, and day one they get the shit kicked out of them. Some guy that's 6'8", 250 fucking gives them a chest bump, and all of a sudden they can't play anymore. You see that with so many players. You see that with so many players that have so much potential, but they just, they got away with so much of their just raw talent in the high school game and the college game that they just don't really know how to play organized basketball. And their talents, their one-on-one showboating just won't cut it in the NBA. You have to play as one. You have to play as a team, and it just doesn't work. Look at all the great NBA champions over the last 30 years. I mean, every single one of those teams has played as a team, and some of these kids that come in there just do not have that organization. They just do not know how to be taught that. Going back to all their coaches, I mean, they're just not coached up well enough. And a legit minor league system would help this. I mean, you get some kid who's 19 years old who's just completely raw, who just, has some tools, but he doesn't have all the tools. Maybe he's just a one-way player to where, he only plays offense, he doesn't play defense, he doesn't get what team defense is. Maybe he's a defender, he just doesn't know how to run an offense. He's a point guard. He's not good at passing, but he's good at ball handling and stuff like that. He just doesn't have court vision or to even understand the NBA game at all. This can be, it can just, do wonders for the NBA, that they could get an NBA system or NBA minor league system in place. Of course, like I said, dissolve the WNBA. It's a waste of money. No one watches. No one really cares. You see some of those games, sometimes I flick through ESPN, you see like 5 people in the stands. I mean, how are they making money off this? What does anybody really care? And they could just, make it into an absolute juggernaut if they wanted to, and be the second best team or second best sport there is. It could definitely, it won't even come close to rival the NFL, but it could really make a dent a little bit. It'll give us something else to watch when football is no longer after February. But just go into a little bit of gameplay here. This is getting fucking frustrating playing with the Pistons. I think I played like 3 games tonight and I lost all 3. And I think I'm gonna make a montage of bad, just to show how much like BS I have to deal with and all the frustrations I have to deal with. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. Like look at right here. I mean, easy layup, and they miss. But then the computer makes acrobatic fucking behind the back layups and shit like that. I mean, it's just annoying. And of course, you're coming up here with Basically, I knew he was going to score either way. I knew he was going to, it was a tie ball game. There was nothing I was going to be able to do. I was just going to basically let him score here, and I didn't really care. Just because of all the cheese. I mean, we were up the entire fucking game. I mean, we were up by 12 that was the most we were up by. I mean, with, I think about like 3 minutes left, we were up by 9. And, they just start making everything. We just start missing everything. Pick and rolls just don't work. I mean, look at here. I'm trying to do the double move cheese, which is what you usually have to do to get a ball in the hoop, and it just doesn't work. And it just pisses the living shit out of me. So I think I'm going to make a montage just to show the last 3 games of all the BS. But let me know what you guys think of the minor league system, if it would work, and yeah, go from there. Later.
Your team couldn't get the win, but you played a pretty good individual game. Is bittersweet the right description for how you're feeling right now?
Nah, not bittersweet. I'm frustrated, man. We should have won that game. We're the better team, and my game was on point, but somehow we lost. What does that come down to then? I'll let you connect the dots. Let's just say that me playing at a high level is only going to win us games outright some of the time. We need good contributions from everyone if we truly want to win a majority of our games and be an elite team.